I'm an obstetrician. I'm an overall in charge and responsible person for the mother's and child's health. Certain people come with continuous, pressure of having a normal delivery. But once they are in labor, they continuously ask us for a cesarean, irrespective of the mother's and the child's condition being all stable.
Despite being so experienced and so humble, so knowledgeable, people think of she is not doing her duties properly.
Some women come with expectations of having a normal delivery or a vaginal birth after a previous cesarean by any means. Blaming somebody is very easy, whether it is online, offline, or whether it is physical or whether it is in their thoughts. Blaming is the easiest thing that they can do.
Do you think social media should be more responsible in verifying health related information?
Social media has several influencers out there. Their judgment is questionable because their qualification does not match what they are talking. We have Mrs. Mom there, where we train every pregnant couple in holistic care, which actually, when they learn, they also advocate it to the community.
Today I'm here with Dr. Shilpi Reddy, who is a very renowned gynecologist, obstetrician, and the head of the department for OBGYN in KIMS Kada. But despite being so experienced and so humble, and despite being so knowledgeable, people think of her that she is not doing her duties properly. This is a scenario which I am seeing on the internet quite a few times. I don't know why few patients who are really dumb, I would say, are thinking that a doctor can do anything. A doctor is God, they can make anything, they can do anything. But that's not true. Being a doctor doesn't mean that he or she has the power to completely rule your body. No. But yes, he has got the expertise to solve the problems of the body. With due knowledge, study, and experience, and with the team effort of all the professionals, they provide the best services. But if you are thinking that irrespective of how your body is, irrespective of how you respond to certain situations, how your body responds to certain situations, you can do anything and everything, and a doctor can help you do it. That is not at all true, my dear audience. This is what I want to portray in today's podcast with ma'am. And there are few questions which I have gathered out of courage, and I want to ask. Means I was also feeling why to ask such disturbing questions to a doctor who is giving their heart and soul to the patient's delivery process, the patient's health, and everything. So, the first question for you, ma'am, is recently a few negative opinions and misleading contents have circulated online, as you have also seen. So, how do you personally view such incidents, and what message would you like to give to your patients who trust you the most?
I'm an obstetrician. I'm an overall in charge and responsible person for the mother's and child's health. When we are trying to deliver a baby, definitely at that point in time, what is the situation? What does the situation demand? What are mother's parameters? What are baby's parameters are of utmost importance. Certain people come with continuous, pressure of having a normal delivery. But once they are in labor, they continuously ask us for a cesarean, irrespective of the mother's and the child's condition being all stable. And some women come with expectations of having a normal delivery or a vaginal birth after a previous cesarean by any means. But once we get into the process of delivering the woman, sometimes we encounter baby heartbeat fluctuations or baby passing motion or something like that. So, what we expect is completely different from what we actually see. So, the results are based on maternal conditions, baby's conditions, and also how much can the mother endure. Sometimes very short labors, they come, they deliver, yet the baby has distress. So too short labors, too long labors are also very difficult. It is a very difficult kind of a scenario, and where we are judged continuously because expectations and outcomes have to match at any cost. If that is not happening, then we are bad obstetricians. If they match, then we are good obstetricians. And another very important thing, I am friendly enough. I give access. I have a holistic approach towards, expressing what is needed for pregnancy, their exercise, their food, their thought process, their stress management, everything we take care. And not only that, we are accessible. Keeping access to thousands of patients through phone and through apps and groups is a very daunting task for a daily, activity. But we do that because the more access we provide, the more they will feel that they are secure. In spite of all these things, they render us very vulnerable. And also, blaming somebody is very easy, whether it is online, offline, or whether it is physical, or whether it is in their thoughts. Blaming is the easiest thing that they can do. But actual effort that goes into giving results is tremendous. There are huge teams, 16 obstetricians who take care of babies, and a huge other extra team like doulas, support staff, physiotherapists, sisters, nurses, in charges, marketing team, branding teams, and several other teams that manage the facility. In spite of all these things, there are several complaints on me, on everybody, because expectations don't meet the deliverables. That is not correct, because obstetrics is not about expectations. Obstetrics is a beautiful journey, which 50% is in your hands. And that 50%, which is in the patient's and the family's hands, they're just trembling to manage that. And the other 50%, which is there on our shoulders, is becoming too heavy for us to match the lapses in the 50% that is there in the patient's hand. This is going nowhere. And there are a lot of, possibilities where we have not met. But that is one in a probably 100 situations. 99 situations we try to manage whatever possible way. But there is one such situation that is not manageable. And the most heinous part is people judging us for when do we even have to deliver them. Do they even know that what kind of situations we are in? What babies are facing inside? There is either a smaller baby or a very big baby. Either the mother is diabetic or hypertensive. Either the water is too much or too less. Either the blood supply is too weak or almost coming to a still. So nowadays, obstetrics is too complicated. And there is a entire fetal medicine team monitoring such babies and giving us the right time to deliver a baby. And this is also authentically done, not just haywire. Nobody wants to deliver a baby at 36, 34, 35 weeks or 37 weeks. There should be a reason behind it. And that reason only the obstetricians can judge. Patients think that this is the delivery date and you have to deliver on that day. It's practically not possible. And practically to deliver such things is just not possible, because whatever the mother's condition is and whatever the baby's condition is, only the doctor can judge. Only your obstetrician can judge. Only the fetal medicine people can give you an integrity into when is the safe time to deliver a baby, and whether the baby is going to deliver naturally, whether the baby is going to be induced, whether the baby needs a C-section. It is only the defining obstetrician's role. Any other doctor also would not be able to give that right amount of decision like what your doctor has been giving you since months. Obviously, a second opinion doesn't make a big difference if the interpreting result of the ultrasound is correct. And we are being judged. As obstetricians, the most painful thing is we compromise on our quality of life. We compromise spending time with our own family. We compromise our own pleasures, our own holidays. We compromise on our own health and try to give all the time to practice, all the time to patients. But they don't understand that point. All that matters is their story, and it has to be beautiful. And behind such stories, the effort that we give is not seen. One strong message that I want to give every woman out there who's pregnant. I am an obstetrician and a good advocator of vaginal deliveries, normal deliveries, breech deliveries, VBAC deliveries, that means deliveries after a previous cesarean, and twin deliveries normally. But remember one thing, all these things not at the cost of mothers and babies' health. There are so many women out there who are stressed, who believe that their bodies can, but the stress in them is not allowing them to go forward. And this is something that is not treatable by a doctor. And whatever condition that you are, we will medically support you. We will ensure that your comfort is there and it is a priority, but not at the risk of your health and the baby's health. This is very, very important. We've been suturing patients since 20-25 years. There cannot be a day that we suture wrong, but there can be a day when the sutures haven't been taken care properly, haven't been washed, haven't been applied ointment with hand because they feel it's a pain and they feel that they shouldn't be touching them. And out of, you know, a lot of fecal contamination and a lot of, infection, they gape. And that is not because of suturing technique always. It's because of hygiene also. And for a person who has gone through these things, it's easy to blame the doctor, but it's not always the doctor who's at uh, the problem side. The problems can be within you also. I always tell that you should write your own story and you should have your own experience. You should never follow what others say, what others' experiences are, and never get worried because everything else is in your hands. Your pregnancy, your diet, your lifestyle, your medications, your doctor, your checkups, everything. Never, never bother about others commenting or others' opinions or unwanted advices and unwanted information that is bombarding you and your pregnancies. And this applies to the negative comments that people give whenever we, post videos or whenever we have some issues. This is extremely painful, not only for the obstetrician, it is also painful for the patients who are coming to the obstetrician. There is an aspect of their version of story being heard, but actual version only the doctor knows. And there are so many, such opinions that I have. When we, try hard, the entire team, the 16 doctors team try hard for 2 days to actually deliver a baby through VBAC for a woman who wanted to have VBAC. But after 48 hours, we can't go beyond that. Especially, we cannot compromise her health and the baby's health. And when we had to deliver her through a cesarean, that was the most beautiful moment that she enjoyed and everything went well and the baby was discharged very well. In fact, when she entered into the hospital, she showered us with comments that once I saw you, I saw heaven and your touch was beautiful, and that was one moment that's the best moment of my life and all these things. And when we could not deliver her through VBAC after 48 hours of trying also, and when we did a safe delivery for her through a cesarean and baby was handed to the mother, there were no other issues with the baby's and mother's health. She went well. And after a couple of weeks, all of a sudden she started saying that she had a bad experience and she went for VBAC and she did not have a normal delivery. But why she did not have a normal delivery? Because her body was not supporting. Her cervix was not opening. We would not do anything different. She has an opinion of herself. And this is not acceptable by me because I did my best. My team did their best. And going under the influence of people who are fools, who instigate her and getting herself to problems is absolutely unwarranted and unwelcomed. Tomorrow, we would not want to give trial for anybody. Who is at loss? Never the obstetrician. Obstetricians are never at loss because one or the other patients we will deliver. If we have enough time, we will spend with our family. What is loss to the patient for an obstetrician who is able to deliver certain services will stop doing so. And this is the state of affairs.
All right, that's fair enough, ma'am. And I completely agree with what you have said. And we all need to understand a doctor's point of view. So, my next question is doctors often deal with emotional, intense situations. And I'm sure you go through that every day. So, how do you balance being empathic yet making tough medical decisions.
We are at an altar of tough decisions every day. And trust me, we are on the tip of the knife where we have to take decisions and deliver them. Some ask for a cesarean, some ask for a normal delivery, yet we have to define what is right for that moment and that time. Looking at women in pain, the entire family says us many times that no, we can't see her in pain, you just do a cesarean. But at that point in time, we have to empathize with them and tell them in a strong word that she's about to deliver. Just give her some time and you will have a beautiful baby in your hands. And that half an hour is like an altar for us because anything goes wrong at that time, we are responsible for not doing a cesarean just when they asked. But when there is a good outcome, they praise us. But when the mother is in a little distress and the weak cry is weak and the baby needs little oxygen for some time or some moments, they blame us for waiting for a long time. So strong nature is important, your decision making is important, and to make sure that people get convinced yet stay in loop with you is important. And there are such situations every day in OPD and in IP also. We tell them, we tell all our patients strongly that your diet is an influencing factor for your health. Your physical exercise is an influencing factor for your health. Yet they have so many lapses out there. But when the reports come back, then we have to be very strong with them, telling that, no, this is not correct and this is not going to happen and this is what we want. That strong advice is important. We cannot say patients do whatever you want. It is not the way that the obstetric practice runs. And it is very difficult for us to stick on to a path and be judged by people. It's okay. But until and unless we know what we are doing and is it right or not, that is more than enough for us.
So, coming to the third question, doctor, in today's social media age, how important is trust between doctor and patient, and what can both sides do to build and maintain that trust lifelong?
Social media is always a double edged sword. I never like social media for the way it is being portrayed as an entertainment option. It is not. Social media is so powerful. Social media can be a strong advocator of your own, perspective. Wherein when I started off with expressing my, patients and their outcomes on social media, I actually wanted to tell women out there who are looking for a safe delivery that we are there. If you want to deliver, have a safe vaginal delivery, we are there. Even whether it is breech or whether it is, you know, normal delivery after a cesarean, we are there. We will support you. That is what the message that I wanted to give. It is not an advertisement message. It is a message that says that you have the power, you just have to put at the right place and right direction. This was my social media message. And nothing beyond that. And an advocator of organic living and holistic health, I support myself with a vision. And that vision has to be known to people. And with that vision, I entered social media. And social media has always given me a good support. And the stories that I tell, they're all realistic. And those are the power behind great women. And those great women out there who are giving their stories to be told are influencing other women out there who are going to be another great story for the same influence that they're going to give. So, this is women supporting women. And when women support women for their own interests and build confidence, this is the most powerful message that any social media can give. And this is overall health and wellness that we are targeting. This is need of the nation right now. This is the right way that we should progress. It is not entertainment, but a powerful message to influence women that every path is a strong path if you have a determination to do it.
Fair enough. So, I think that is very insightful to the audience also. knowing such details about the topic. So the fourth question goes like, can you share a moment from your career where your work truly changed someone's life and something that reminds you why you choose this profession? Means I want a connection between your situations that you have faced, which has led an impact on your mind and that completely changed the way you see the world.
I still remember a woman who had 4 miscarriages, all in her, mid pregnancies. And she came and saw me one day. Then she was saying that, I don't know, I've had 4 miscarriages and this is my fifth pregnancy. Will it be anything different? I told her, don't worry, we are there. And actually, we made sure that I personally went, checked the story, everything defined, all her files, all her, papers, every bit of a thing we evaluated. And then we reinforced that you can have a full term delivery. And then I took her up. I took her up and then we put a high stitch. Actually, looking at her cervix, it was quite short, but I definitely, I'm trained in putting a high stitch. So I put a very high stitch. And then I told her that this pregnancy, you're going to take this baby home. And definitely, you should believe this. And she believed in us. After that, she had regular checkups. She did upper body strengthening and whatever that we could give her. We never gave her absolute bed rest because we told her you can do your daily chores, be at home, enjoy your pregnancy, and just stay away from the fear of losing your baby. This is very, very important. And at about 34 weeks, we in fact gave her steroid because we were predicting any kind of a normal situation that she might end into a preterm delivery. We gave her steroid. Everything was fine. And at 36 weeks, she started having pain. But at that moment, she was so happy that she was 36 weeks and the baby was about 2.4 kg. And in fact, this is one of the ways I tell my people I had to open the stitch at 36 weeks. And she, in fact, had a beautiful boy baby delivered in her hands after losing 4 children of about 200, 300, 400 grams. This was the first baby with 2.4 kg that I gave her into her hands. But of course, this is also a preterm delivery. But having a 2.4 kg baby in your hand is extremely, out of the way situation that we could give her. Because she had pain, we had to open her stitch. We opened her stitch and she had a vaginal delivery. In vaginal delivery, the baby was mother side because we in fact gave her steroid also at 34 weeks. Prediction is not wrong. There were so many contradictory statements that she's doing fine. Why do you want to give her a steroid at 34 weeks? But that was my judgment. I know that if there is a problem coming in, again, the baby might go into an ICU if the lungs are not mature. So we gave her lung maturity and brain maturity medications and then asked her to wait. In fact, she did not go up till 38 weeks, but she delivered at 36 weeks, yet a vaginal delivery, and then she took her baby back home in 2 days. She came back for another pregnancy. Another pregnancy also we put a high stitch and she delivered at 36, 37 weeks again. So this is the power of treating women and understanding situations and giving them that faith. Such things happen every day. I see so many people with recurrent miscarriages coming to me. That is one of my niche. I sit down, jot down everything, understand the story, and make sure that we point out where the problem is. Most of the time, they are not evaluated properly. The husband is not evaluated, the genetics is not evaluated, the clot formation tendency is not evaluated. All the thing they are doing is just getting pregnant and having a miscarriage. You evaluate situations, you find the fault, you treat the fault, and they will have a full term baby or a baby that can be taken home happily at one way or the other. So, this is the power of obstetrician. And I have made so many people change their decisions, change their fate, change their sadness to happy stories.
So the fifth question goes like, do you think social media should be more responsible in verifying health related information before it goes viral? Like we have seen people putting a fake information, putting a fake awareness, and it goes viral. So what is your opinion towards this?
Social media has been doing a lot of great job everywhere. But in the same way, there are very few doctors who advocate the right frame of mind and the right way of treatment and thought process, because doctors are professionally trained for so many years. They can give opinions and they can give advice with professional efficiency. But social media has several influencers out there who might have experience, might not have experience, might have a correct opinion, might not have a correct opinion. Their judgment is questionable because their qualification does not match what they are talking. Then this is something that has a high quality of negative opinions about social media, because there are too many people talking about two important things that are not their subject. And that is completely diluted when few doctors come forward and talk about this subject. Everybody out there is an expert. They think that they have expert opinions and they give opinions. And public out there is listening to all these unwanted information. And when they have to actually take the right decision, they're not able to take because they're all confused. With one problem, they get 10 inputs, only one input from a professional doctor. The 9 inputs that they get are manipulating the one input that the doctor gives, which is right for the patient. So, this is happening today with social media. And social media is raising awareness about several problems that are there in the society. We've been very vocal about things, but again, it is giving unnecessary attention to stories that have no essence, one sided stories, and one sided views, which are actually not correct. And they don't define the reality, they define their perspectives, their experiences, and they don't define the statistics and medical literature. Medical literature, evidence based medicine, and evidence based practice is completely different from quackery. And these two are together confusing the people who are trying to take information about a problem.
So coming towards my last two questions, couple of questions, last final questions. The sixth question for this podcast, I'll say that if there's one thing you want your patients to remember about Dr. Shilpi Reddy, not as a doctor, but as a human being, so what would that be?
Dr. Shilpi is your doctor, and I am a real advocator of holistic living. And when it comes to treatment or taking my advice, I would not do anything different than what I talk. It's your lifestyle, and it's important for every problem to define the treatment through lifestyle changes. And this is what is Dr. Shilpi. And I always tell my patients, you will find me when you need me. And not only at the hospital, online, offline, wherever that I am a doctor by my profession and by my life. And it's important to give that service attitude. And it is not that a medical treatment gives you solutions for your diseases. It's holistic living and treatment around the problem, the 360-degree care that is needed for you. And this is Dr. Shilpi. And for everybody out there who's having gynecological problems, obstetric problems, teenage problems, menopausal problems, any problem in a woman's life, from a small girl child to an aged woman, you can trust me, we will take care. And it is going to be holistic care for whatever reason it is. It is never only medical. And that's what I have defined medicine as, holistic care. And this is my specialty. And I would definitely vouch myself to make the best of experience that you can have.
So coming to the final question, ma'am, I know we have discussed a lot about all the topics about how a doctor is, what the behavior is, what is the meaning of trust between patient and doctor. So coming to the final question, Dr. Shilpi, you have been serving as a trusted gynecologist for years now. How would you describe your journey and what core values have guided your patient all along the journey?
It's been 25 years of practice, and I have served both rural and urban population. But one thing that I have kept all these 25 years is I am accessible. Accessibility is a core definition for the doctor. And when the doctors are accessible, you build trust. And it is not only about modern health care. I believe that you should not only treat the problem, you should treat the reason behind the problem. This is the difference that I keep to my care and the way I treat patients. And for me, patient is not alone, it's the entire family. So whatever I want to talk to the patient, I want to tell the patient, I want to tell about the disease or some physiological conditions like pregnancy and all, I talk to the entire family. And it's about the role, it is about making sure that your personal care is there. This is Dr. Shilpi, and I am your friendly neighborhood doctor, and I make sure that you have the best of outcomes in whatever possible. Not only obstetrics, gynec, robotics, lab, you name a solution, I have it for you. And I have an entire team that will give you 24 by 7 care. And this is the core essence, 360-degree holistic care. And that defines what Dr. Shilpi is. When it comes to the community, community has so many health related problems, so many lifestyle problems. I have always given an opportunity to internally get into the community and empower women and empower couples. So it is not only about caregiving, it is about addressing to the community needs. If you have fertility related issues, we have a fertility conclave that addresses to your problems and make sure that you improve your natural pregnancy rates. And in a similar way, there is a pregnant population who is trying to know what is actually about pregnancy, how to define pregnancy, how to have best outcomes, how to have holistic pregnancy outcomes. There also we have a niche. We have Mrs. Mom there, where we train every pregnant couple in holistic care, which actually, when they learn, they also advocate it to the community. So it is not only about giving medical care at my doorstep, it is giving information, empowerment, and rich sources of information to the community, where it is actually going to empower couples and empower information. And the right information is the need of the hour. This way, we not only engage in, pre-pregnancy couples, we engage in pregnant couples. And also for the ones who are, above the reproductive age group, we have Women's Health Conclave, which again empowers women with different kinds of problems in the society and how to encounter and treat them on a regular basis. So it's my job to not only take care of my patients, I should also be taking care of the society through my foundation, Dr. K. Shilpi Reddy Foundation, where we empower the community through various events and aspects, not only encouraging them with the right lifestyle, not only solving their problems, also giving the best outcomes for the next generations to come in terms of managing their lifestyle. So this is holistic care to the core, and this is Dr. Shilpi Reddy to the core.
So, my dear audience, that's about it for today's podcast. And I pity and empathy those who are knowledgeable and yet behave like kids. They yet behave like they are someone who are fools. But I just want to throw one thing, that getting a VBAC done comes with a lot of complications. Last year, I became a father, and I was also asking the doctor that I want a normal delivery. Is the first delivery of my wife, and doctor said that see, we will try our best to give you the normal delivery. But ultimately, it was a C-section. So should I shout at the doctor? Should I shout at my wife? Should I shout at the entire staff that you said me that it will be a normal delivery, but it is C-section? No, I was knowledgeable enough. I was senseful enough to understand that the body of a human being responds to certain situations, certain procedures in very different way. What works for me should cannot work for everyone else. What works for a patient cannot work for anyone else. So you have to understand the core value of medical treatment, that every body is different, every mind is different, and doctors, they just try their best to give you the best output. And if anything goes wrong, they are held responsible. I agree, it is under their supervision, so they are held responsible, but they should not be responsible for everything, and especially not for those situations at which your body could have collapsed or your body was not responding, or there could be more complication than a simple treatment. So this is something which you all should be aware of. And thank you, ma'am, to giving me this time to throw a light on such topic, which is very alarming and which is something that I have been seeing for the last 2 months. Thank you.